Episode 34. I said, if you own JP Morgan stock, you're going to have a good old time this year. You're going to have a good old time this year. And you know why I said that? Because I understood this. Where all those little banks falling, they played a game that we played in school called Big Bank Take Little Bank. They played a game that's called Big Bank Take Little Bank. They says, you know what? Even though this bank is failing, they still have some type of liquid assets that I can use. I can take those assets. I can buy this bank at a discount. I can take these assets and put them to my balance sheet. And that's what they did. Stock performed 26% year to date. It's just understanding how the game is played. As Americans, so let me talk to, so I want y'all to know this year, don't get me wrong, my show's for everybody, but this year I'm gonna be intentional about talking to black people, bro. Because we gotta get it together, Jose. Now I'm about to say something that Jose might don't like. But I think I need to lead up to it before I say it, Jose. I think I need to warm you up a little bit before I say it. I need to warm you up a little bit before I say it. All right, so watch this. As Americans, as black people in America, here's what I do know. I do know that between 1866 and 1836, 92% of black people in America were Republicans. And what did they get? Jim Crow. Watch me, Jose. Between 1936 and now, that thing shifted to Democrat. What did we get? War on drugs, mass incarceration, and a whole bunch of other stuff that didn't serve us. Right? The black people in America are now in position to be permanent underclass. You know why? Because we are no longer the number 2 minority in America. Our Hispanic and Hispanic friends have now moved up on that ladder. So if we didn't get treated right as the number 2 second class citizen, we damn sure don't get treated right as the 3rd class citizen. And guess who's moving up at number 3? Who's going to take our spot as number 3? Asian Americans. They moving up. So if we didn't get treated right as 2nd class, we damn sure ain't gonna get treated right as 3rd class. How the hell are we gonna get treated right as the 4th class citizens in America? Right? Now the reason why I said this is because we're trapped. Well, white Americans are not producing as much. Now this is not me, this is scientific, but they still control the money, they still control the politics, and they still control the law. They control money, they control politics, they control law. We've been through a civil war. We've been through a bunch of world wars. We've been through a depression. We've been through a Great Depression. We've been through a dot-com bubble. We've been through a civil rights movement. We've been through a god-doggone pandemic, and yet our wealth has not moved one iota. In 2024, we have to get this thing together. This is not me being anti-anything. It is being anti-ignorant. It's not being anti-anything. It is being anti-understanding the system. Wealth, power, and control in America has not changed since its inception. But yet, we have used these devices to compete against one another at a high level. At a high level. You can get on anybody's platform and talk about what black men need to do for black women, it's going to go crazy. You get on anybody's platform and say, well, black women need to do to black women, it's going to go crazy. But never will you talk about how we need to help one another, and that content goes crazy. It gets smothered. It gets oppressed in the algorithm. So what I'm saying to us is, we have not devised a plan on how we can come together as a community, as a people, to fight off wage inequality, race inequality, systematic inequality, wealth inequality. But yet, we are the biggest persecutors of one another. That has to change. Because it is impossible for us to come on top if we gotta fight the law, we gotta fight the politicians, we gotta fight the banks, we gotta fight the educational system, and we gotta fight ourselves. There's no way possible. Now, here's what I was leading up to Jose. Never once have I ever heard anybody tell the Jewish community that the Holocaust they need to forget it. Never once have I heard anybody tell the Jewish people in America that what they went through, they need to pull themselves up by their bootstraps. Nobody ever said that. But I can guarantee you, as a black person living in America, you've heard that at least 5 times in your lifetime. Why are you still complaining about slavery? Racism doesn't exist. Were you enslaved? What I need us to understand is this. The Jewish people in America realize one thing. The way that we make people respect us is we go get us some money. Now, I know there's another nuances that came in there, but they did one thing. They did 2 things. They got some money, they learned a lot about money, and they controlled the thing. The one thing they controlled that was powerful was they controlled the media. You will not find a movie that talks about or shows or depicts the Jewish people in a derogatory way. You will not find it. But yet we are the makers of movies that depict us in a certain way. We're the movies, and there's nothing against nothing, but you will not find a movie. Where are the movies that puts us as the hero? Where are the movies about the Haitian Revolution? Where are the movies about Mansa Musa? Where are the movies about black people that ascended to greatness? Where are the movies about us? Every time we come up with a movie that's supposed to depict us in the light, we got to be in. We got to be. I just need us to understand that in order for us to get where we need to go at as a community, as a culture, and as a people, we cannot do it alone. And watch this, Jose. This is what I really understood. When you think about how other groups came up, when you think about that, here's what I do understand too. Every time black people in America tried to get leadership or move the needle, our leaders got killed. So now you can't look at the people and say, why y'all against each other? Because here's what I do understand, Jose. Everybody not made to be leaders. There's a reason why you had a Martin Luther King. There's a reason why you had a Malcolm X. There's a reason why you had those people. You know why? Because certain people have this thing in them. They're willing to go against the grain. Everybody not made to be leaders. Some people are great number 2s. But leadership can help a people transcend. There's nowhere in the world that America thought that the Black Panther Party will cripple America. You're talking about the greatest military force of all time. But yet J. Edgar Hoover said the Black Panther Party is the greatest threat to American democracy. Why? Because he understood if black people had something to believe in, somebody that looked like them, sound like them, talk like them, that would make them stand up for themselves, black people coming together that's united, you are a powerful force. It's the reason why you burn down Black Wall Street. You know why? Because the dollar moves around 28 times before it leaves this community. You know how strong that dollar is then? People don't like Elijah Muhammad, but I love him. But you know what he said? We fighting for what it was, segregation? What we was fighting for? Right? He was fighting to go be a part of it. He said that's the worst thing that we could do. It's the worst thing that you could do. And we said, why? I want to go be with him. He said, because the minute you go be with them, the minute you take your money out your community. You know what happened? When they rebuilt Black Wall Street, when they got it back up and running, guess what they said? Integration is here. And guess what we did? Flock down there to go spend our money with them. Guess what we did? We said, nope, I'm not hiring the Johnsons no more. Nope, I'm not going to the Williams' corner store. Nope, I'm not going to the farm. I'm going downtown to the Smiths and spend with them. And guess what? That dollar went from moving 28 times to barely even moving once. So it's the reason why the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that's the worst thing that ever happened to us. Until this day, one of the biggest killers of black wealth is the social dilemma of wanting to be accepted by white America. It's one of the biggest things. And I'll be real with you. I've even succumbed to it at points in my life. We all have. So it's not pointing a finger at nobody. It's saying that if we look back, we can see the mistakes that happen, and in order for us to move forward, we need to rectify. Tonight, we're going to talk about some men that's worth hundreds of billions of dollars. Tonight, we're going to talk about how the wealthy people of America amassed $1.5 trillion in wealth this year alone after losing 1.4. Now, watch this. If the wealthy people of America lose 1.4 trillion, imagine what you lost. If the wealthy people of America, because we know they don't lose money often. So if the wealthy people of America went through a year where they lost 1.4 trillion, imagine how you, the everyday person, the average household, imagine what you lost. Because guess what? They ain't losing by themselves. But here's the caveat to that. This year, they made 1.5 trillion. So they mean they got that back. And then some. Here's my question to us. What did we get back? What did we get back? I went to the podcast the other day, bruh. Shout out to the guys from the Fat Nasty podcast, right? I went and did the podcast the other day, and he put me on something that I never even saw before. It was the conversation, Jose, between Steve Harvey and Monique. I had never saw it. But I'm looking at it, and Monique is saying, yo, when I spoke up for truth, nobody rocked with me publicly, but behind closed doors, everybody told me they felt my pain. And Steve Harvey said, I'm playing a money game. If I stand on the side of you, who gonna help my family? And I watched that video so disappointed. I wasn't disappointed at Steve Harvey. I wasn't disappointed at Monique. I was disappointed at us. Because two people can have truth. Two people can have truth. Monique saying, y'all know the wickedness that go on in this industry. And I stood up against it. And they blackballed me. And nobody stood with me. Steve Harvey saying, hey, yo, listen, I get it. But I'm worth 300, 400 million. And if I stand up with you and they blackball me, then now the two families broke. And the reason why I was disappointed in that, because why do we keep having to go to them to be successful? Is it so hard for us to sacrifice some years to build our own? Is it that tough in America? Is it that hard? And I can only ask because I'm not worth hundreds of millions of dollars. I don't care what Google be telling y'all, stop believing that. And it makes me sad because when I think about Colin Kaepernick, a man said openly, I'm not against the American flag. I'm against police brutality. And we watched him get publicly lynched a year after he brung a team to the Super Bowl. And my question is, every time that we stand up for ourselves in America, we get publicly lynched. It's no different than taking a man in front of his kids, in front of his wife, in front of his friends, and you say to him, nigga, don't do that again. And my question is, when do we stop letting that be acceptable? When do we stop letting that be acceptable? No matter if we disagree with each other's opinions, in front of camera, when do we come a united front? Because we know we're going to have differences in opinion. Jose might say it's red. I might say it's crimson. It don't matter. Let's have that inside. At what point do we say no longer will we let the divide and conquer tactic work? When we think about the Panthers again, like this is phenomenal for me. J. Edgar Hoover said, the Black Panthers represent the most detrimental debt to American democracy. You talk about a bunch of street dudes. And leather jackets with black glasses, where all they did was understood the law and their right to bear arms and their amendments. And they understood them well. And Jose, they were met with military tactics. They were met with military tactics. We talking from infiltration, we talking kidnapping, we talking POWs, we talking the whole thing. We talking the whole thing. We talking the, man, bringing it. We talking they opened the playbook. We talking Malcolm X, we talking one man. We talking one man at one point in his life. He wasn't even past 35 years old. They had him labeled as one of the most dangerous men in America, and all he talked about was human rights. He said, before I can even fight for civil rights, we at least need to be treated like human beings over here. You got to realize every time that you're representing positivity, that's a threat. Why do you think the most viral content is violent content? The most content that goes crazy amongst us is destructional to us. It's never the I went and built a community. That ain't gonna go. That ain't gonna make the shade room. All our media outlets that's the most prominent are toxic to us, detrimental to us. Anything that's detrimental to us is helpful to the other class's agenda is the things that the media will push. Yo, I can put out the most positive content in the world. It probably won't go too far. The minute I remember when Marcus and Tony the Closer had went live. I had never in my life seen 20,000 people on a live. I said, this is outrageous. This is outrageous. I saw Super on a live the other day talking about her relationship breakup. 22,000 people on the live. 22,000 people on the live. How the algorithm let that on? How the algorithm let 22,000 people on her live to talk about her relationship breakup? How the algorithm let that on? She ain't did nothing but went live like she been going live. It been had 1,500 people on her live, 2,000 people on her live, but the minute she talk about her breakup, something that's destructive, what happens? 22,000. Fred Hampton, a man so powerful at a young age, 21 years old. What did he do? He was able to do what? Get black, Puerto Rican, and white people together and say, hey, listen, it's about classism. He ain't do nothing wrong. He got black people, white people, and Puerto Rican people together and said, yo, check this out. Racism is real, but this is about classism. What are we talking about here? And what did they do? Raided the house, shot the man, sleep. Sleep. So what I need us to understand, and I don't apologize for going on this. I don't apologize at all. What I need us to understand is we've seen what has worked against us. We've seen when we come together, how powerful you can be. We've also seen how as long as they keep us apart, how destructive it can be.